When I heard Dame Dash that Jay wouldn't sign off on nothing, Jay wouldn't do this and Jay would that, because he couldn't let a Cameron blow up. He couldn't let an East Coast rapper like Beanie Siegel blow up.
Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately: Sean Carter.
He ain't answering the phone?
If you just finished watching 50 Cent's Diddy documentary on Netflix, there's one thing that hits you almost instantly. One name that should have been everywhere, but wasn't there at all. Jay-Z. No photos, no mentions, no old clips, nothing at all. Like he vanished from the story. And that's where things start feeling weird. Diddy and Jay-Z had a long, well-documented relationship, so the silence doesn't make sense. The more you think about it, the louder that silence gets. This wasn't some random oversight either. According to multiple industry insiders, Netflix reportedly removed an entire segment from episode 4 at the very last minute. That missing section was allegedly known behind the scenes as the Jay-Z tapes. Sources claim 50 Cent pushed hard to keep it in, but Netflix ultimately cut it completely. No explanation on screen, no mention, just gone.
Coming out, I know next year is going to be a number 2. Season 2.
I just put it on YouTube.
I just put it on YouTube.
What's raising even more eyebrows now is what people are saying behind closed doors. Industry chatter suggests that federal authorities allegedly showed interest in material connected to that removed section. To be clear, there has been no public confirmation of any investigation, but the timing alone has people talking loudly.
Everybody that is said, and Desiree Perez, all them people got dirt under them, bro. You understand? All them people got dirt on their fingernails. Jay-Z got dirt in his fingernails. You understand? Jay-Z was messing with young girls from our block. Tired of them. I'm putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm picking a side. Desiree, husband, was a former dealer that she turned on a whole cartel. All of them got dirt on them. And 50 got their dirt. You understand? 50 gonna know they dirt. Because 50 got investigators, he got people that's in the street. So if they go at him, listen here, I deem him like myself, 10 times the normal man. He gonna do what he gotta do. And the whole thing about it is they trying to retaliate on him for something he did to somebody else. I feel that it's something worth seeing. It's something worth coming around, because all that shit about to fall. All that that we seen in the industry, these demons want to have sex and turn little boys into little girls into little boys. That shit's about to go out the window, bro. And we need to start speaking up and talking about it. We need to stop all this crazy stuff. We need people to put people out here that's doing like this, that's taking from people's families, that's beating women, that's drugging women. I ain't got a problem with it. Let's go to war.
And look at how everyone else was handled in the documentary. Other major figures were named, lawsuits were discussed, allegations were clearly framed as allegations, careers were examined, but Jay-Z wasn't minimized. He was erased. When one of the most powerful names connected to the story avoids all scrutiny, it doesn't look accidental. That's why people are calling it damage control. To understand why his absence matters, you have to look at his history with Diddy. Despite later statements trying to downplay their connection, insiders who worked inside Diddy's circle say the two were extremely close for years.
So close that they had matching white girls together. Because when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So I guess that's a certain type of closeness.
I ain't know anything about that, man. I ain't know about, Jay touching his, ass. I gotta go see the video. I ain't hear about that.
Come on, man. Everybody's seen that. 50 even pointed it out. Excuse me.
when they was in ATL on stage. Remember when 50 bum rushed the stage with them?
Yeah, I think I recall that.
When Puff came on stage, first thing he did was pat Jay-Z on that. But I forgot. That's your favorite rapper.
Hey, him and Pac is 1A, 1B. But what's your issue with Jay, man? I didn't know you had an issue with him.
I'm never a fan of somebody that I was gonna knock out. And then we was at the, it was me, him, Ashley Kushner, Puff and them. We was all at the Nets game together, and he didn't even remember none of it. And I don't expect him to remember, but I remember. You understand? And he told Puff, he said, yo, Puff, yo, I heard about that Gene right there. That Gene got a mean left. Oh, he said, that Gene a knock a nigga out. Then he gonna come up to me and say, man, you look like, man, you a tear nigga ass up. And I said to himself, I said, yo, no Diddy. Pause, whatever. I said, he don't even remember. I was about to knock him the F out. He didn't even remember. He said to me, to Laura. That's how these guys are, man. They'll cause situations and cause problems, and then they'll forget what they done because they on a whole nother atmosphere.
This wasn't just music or business deals. It was a deep professional bond, according to people who were there. When Diddy began facing legal pressure, Jay-Z's team released statements saying they weren't that close. Former insiders immediately pushed back, saying that story didn't match what really happened behind closed doors.
Lawsuit coming with Jay, the part with Jay. I go, oh shoot, like
to us, black excellence, right?
that had to be there.
We getting tighter, you know what I'm saying? And united we stand, and ain't nothing else.
Black excellence, they're sitting there like, yeah. It's the billionaire brunch. Like,
I hate you, man.
Unaware of anything going on here. This is the one time I'm gonna be with you this year.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
And that matters, because when federal investigations expand, they don't just look at one person. They look at networks, who was around, who knew what, and who stayed silent. That's usually when people start backing away fast.
Relationship and the camaraderie between the Jigga Man and the Diddler. Okay? These are two people that have been working in concert, collaborating and competing. These are people that have been covering each other's secrets for decades. That's why I say to sit there and to just make Diddy the acceptable monster and not address his greatest collaborator in all of his business dealings it's a miscarriage of justice. Because what you're doing is you're leaving the other half of this two-headed monster out on the street to still be able to do what they do. While this one looks like he's down. This is a man who pow-powed his own brother and somehow walked away from that instance, got involved in the street trade, and somehow everyone else went to jail except for him. He's been making deals with the government and with the feds for quite some time. If none of this is real, how does the CEO of his record conglomerate Rock Nation, how is she a known federal informant whose background is transferring on multiple levels? Desiree Perez is one of the most despicable human beings to ever walk the face of this earth. And I'm not saying allegedly, I know that about you, man. I know about all your business dealings in Laredo. I know about all your business dealings in Guadalajara. And I know about who you know in Sinaloa. Why is a woman who's had this much engagement with the Mexican cartels running a rap conglomerate. That makes no sense. And she is a chartered government informant. What it sounds like to me is that the government found a very, very, very successful way to control and manipulate hip hop by allowing their top agents to run everything and keep the independent jail system going, because a lot of these rappers are also heavily invested in the jails that most of these rappers go to. It's a bigger business.
You have to show damages to really win defamation as well.
Absolutely,
is that just
but
part of the
they're
legal
not
plan?
going to do that against me. Because if they do that, then they have to explain how I know what I know. See, the truth is I've had them at check for 2 years. Checkmate is coming. I promise you.
According to sources familiar with the situation, the deleted episode 4 section was meant to explore long-standing allegations tied to Jay-Z's private life, sealed legal agreements, and strict confidentiality arrangements. These claims have circulated for years as rumors, never proven, never formally examined, and never presented on a major streaming platform like this.
There's no vindication for me because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop.
And that's exactly why its removal has everyone talking. Another major piece of the removed material reportedly focused on how young artists were treated inside the music industry.
Finally gonna have a real conversation about whether or not Rihanna was trafficked.
Oh.
To Def Jam.
She was an innocent baby when she came over here. And look
She
at
was
her
14 going on 15 years old. Flown over without parental supervision in a private plane by a man who was supposed to be a producer who auditioned her at 3 a.m. in a hotel room. Auditioning at 3 a.m. in the morning, a 14-year-old girl.
with no parental consent.
Nobody. She was flown to another country. She was taken to Def Jam headquarters. She was left in a conference room alone with Sean Carter for nearly 6 hours alone with no parental supervision.
And she was how old?
Flown up separately. She was 14 and a half, going on 15. She's about 16 when Pon the Replay came out, wasn't she? Her father collected a $500,000 check. She has the fastest inked deal in Def Jam history.
How did they get Rihanna from Barbados to New York City? Quickly. They got her there quick.
Like that. On a private plane.
Yeah.
Just told you, just said that.
If people knew how many of these girls are transported around on private planes, how they're able to redact, change names on manifests, she wouldn't have needed parental consent or a passport if she got on a private plane on the manifest listed as someone else. They only worry about the body count. They're not checking IDs at the tarmac. They're trusting whoever's bringing them on is doing everything above board.
how
So
they
many
get
girls were transported, models just like that.
These stories aren't new at all. They've been whispered about for decades, passed around quietly and ignored on purpose. What's different now is that investigators are allegedly widening their lens, looking at how power, money, and silence all work together behind the scenes. And once you start pulling that thread, one name keeps popping up no matter how hard people try to avoid it. R. Kelly. For years, the industry knew he was trouble. Long before court cases and documentaries, executives and artists were already keeping their distance. People didn't want their names anywhere near him. Doors quietly closed. Calls stopped getting answered. Dame Dash, who was Jay-Z's business partner at the time, has said publicly that he wanted nothing to do with R. Kelly. He has stated clearly that he didn't want to be around him, didn't want to work with him, and didn't want his business connected to him in any way. That part has been said out loud, but Jay-Z didn't step away. Instead, he went on to make full albums with R. Kelly.
Was you and R. Kelly ever cool at 84?
Why? He's an R&B. I'm not an R&B. No disrespect to R&B because I'm cool with Tyrese. But we have these things. Like sometimes I'll be like, "That's that R&B shit you doing." You know what I mean? I'm not R&B nigga like that. I wasn't hanging out with no R&B nigga. I just couldn't. I think the fact that Jay was with him is what used to blow my mind more than anything. Like I feel like I don't know why he wants to with this guy so much. Like why? I just never understood it. So I think it was just more me feeling awkward about the fact that I had to be around him on some level, but I wasn't around him. Like I never was around him. Like even when they, that not guilty, I wasn't like I came for the video, I was out. I wasn't a guy, and I think like we took pride, at least I did, and my crew, in not hanging out with famous people or famous men. Like if you was gonna be famous, it had to be a female. But I wasn't trying to be up under no other famous dudes. I didn't think that was like, I'm not gonna hang out with you just because you're famous. And I don't like dudes that much. So I was like, why would I? I have no reason. Like what I'm gonna do, go to the studio and hang out with it? Like I don't do that.
Right. Did Jay know about what he did to Aaliyah?
Did he know that everybody knew R. Kelly married Aaliyah at 15? Everybody knew that. So was the conversation had like, yo, how you gonna go and do something with this dude? Hell yeah, that conversation was had.
That's what leaves people scratching their heads. Dame Dash later entered a relationship with Aaliyah when she was an adult, which he has addressed publicly. So naturally, people started asking tough questions. Where was Jay-Z during the earlier years? Why did he remain so close to R. Kelly when so many others backed off fast? Was it strictly business, or were they moving within the same protected industry circles?
Like, yo, how you gonna do a project with a girl? We had the conversation. Why would you still with someone that raped your girl? Would you still do anything with that person? So why would anyone expect me to? Like that's what I don't understand. I'd be like, yo, people be like, why? Well, just that alone. There's a lot of other, but that alone was like the nail in the coffin for me. I was out of there. I was gone. Trust me. After that, I don't want to be nowhere near. I knew that shit was gonna blow up. I didn't want no parts of that shit. Like I was like, I don't want no parts. That's not good money. So I was done with him for that.
How did Jay respond when you confronted him?
You know how he is. It's like, yo, I ain't nothing to do with that. What I would love is for someone to ask him, like, yo, why would you still do a project with that man, knowing that he in Aaliyah? That should be the question. Period. It shouldn't be for me. It should be the question posed to him. I don't give a fuck about nothing else. But that right there was bridge burnt. But I just was like respecting her, respecting the business. But I was I moved out of Rock. Like if y'all look at, I left Rockefeller. It wasn't that I got kicked out of Rockefeller. I left Rockefeller. You understand what I'm saying? The option was there for me to stay. I did not want no parts of it. I was done. I left Rockware. Think about it, bro. I said, all the money, I'm out. Now think about, a lot of men would not have made that choice, but any real man would have to make that choice. I was left no choice. He gave me an offer I could not refuse. And we done. You know what I'm saying? You gonna with this man, you knew he raped my girl, you was in love with her. How could you do that? It's obviously you want me to feel away. Like it wasn't enough money for us to do that, so I was done.
This is where Jaguar Wright steps back into the spotlight. Jaguar has been speaking out for years. She claims that once she learned what truly went on behind the scenes in the industry, especially regarding Aaliyah, she couldn't stay quiet anymore. She says she was pressured to sign strict confidentiality agreements and claims fear and industry pressure were used to keep her silent.
It's time for Aaliyah Dana Houghton's death to be properly investigated.
The official record states that Aaliyah tragically died in a plane crash in 2001. Over the years, many theories have circulated. Some believe it was a devastating accident. Others believe questions were never fully answered. Jaguar Wright has made it clear that she personally does not believe it was a coincidence. She has publicly stated that she believes it was planned.
Was sitting in a taxi as her team and the flight crew argued nearby about whether or not to take off, and she complained of having a headache. Now, reportedly, a baggage handler nearby said that someone from her entourage gave her a pill. She took the pill, and that right after she fell into a very deep sleep. So deep, in fact, that she was carried onto the airplane still asleep and may not have even been aware that she was on the airplane. Now, we should say we don't know what that pill was. It could have been aspirin. Maybe she was just very tired from a long video shoot. And the baggage handler did say that she took it willingly, but it does reveal some new information about those final moments.
After the crash, investigators determined the small plane was carrying about 700 pounds over its limit, and this is important, the center of gravity was too far back in the aircraft.
The pilot did not want to make this trip, and he reportedly argued with Aaliyah's team because he thought that it was unsafe. So he did make those calculations, and he did decide that it was unsafe. However, after protracted negotiation, they went through with that flight. Now, we did also learn some new things about this pilot. According to autopsy results, he had both alcohol and cocaine in his system.
The pilot
did.
Whoa.
He was not the authorized pilot for that plane, and he had just joined that company a few days prior to that flight. So he was very new with that company.
So Jaguar Wright alleges that the deaths of Aaliyah and other popular artists in the music industry is a bigger scheme and something else is behind it. So I'm going to go ahead and roll you guys this clip of everything that Jaguar Wright had to say, and you guys let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
But Aaliyah, why haven't we demanded more answers? After all this time, everyone is quick to agree that something is rotten in Denmark
Yes.
with that. And everyone says it, even in the news reports, and yet no one has said it's time to talk to Hype Williams about why he didn't want Aaliyah to get on Lenny Kravitz's very, very, very wonderful and safe plane, to get on the janky one that he forced her on, which, by the way, she didn't get on willingly. She was and carried on. Why does no one ask Hype?
What's clear is that before her passing, Aaliyah was becoming more independent. She was making her own choices, growing stronger, and creating distance from certain industry figures. That shift matters. Kathy White's death has also been described by some as deeply unfair.
White's life was taken unfairly. She actually died screaming. And the Carters are responsible. But one of them is just a little more responsible than the other. Question is, did Sean Carter delete his mistress, his pregnant mistress, because his wife was jealous? Or could it be possible that maybe his wife's temper is just a little worse than most people think? And maybe he just had to clean it up
to protect the brands.
Adding even more layers to these conversations. And here's where things get even heavier. If Diddy truly holds recordings or information connected to people close to Jay-Z, that would explain why total separation isn't possible. Even with mounting legal pressure surrounding Diddy, leverage changes everything. When one person holds damaging information on another, power shifts fast, and it never stops with just one name. According to Gene Deal, Diddy and Jay-Z's lives and careers are so closely tied that if the deaths of Tupac and Biggie were ever re-examined in court, both names could be pulled into legal discussions related to their roles. Gene Deal has claimed they were operating toward the same goal and described what he called an assignment, which he says was meant to prevent East Coast rap from reclaiming dominance.
D and Puff was given an assignment, and that was to destroy East Coast rap. And what I mean by that, and I know people gonna be like, yo, Gene is out of his mind and everything like that. Check this out, brother. Is that New York rappers was getting 800 to 1.2 million, or some larger than that, and to sign with labels back then. And they was getting a lot of money to make albums and records. When they had guys down south that these labels was paying $250,000, $300,000 on record deals, and these guys was bringing back platinum albums and everything like that. So what they had to do was they had to keep New York rappers down. That's one reason, other than the Irv Gotti shit that 50 was going through, and the poison they was putting in about 50, he had to go elsewhere to California, or with Jay and not with Dre and Eminem to get a deal. They did not want East Coast rappers to get big. They were suppressing all new artists that was coming out of New York. Jay and Diddy was doing that. That's why when I heard your story, because I knew this for a long time, but when I heard Dame Dash that Jay wouldn't sign off on nothing, Jay wouldn't do this and Jay would that, because he couldn't let a Cameron blow up. He couldn't let an East Coast rapper like Beanie Siegel blow up. Because him and Diddy was giving that deal, we gotta keep these East Coast rappers down. Long came a somebody. They was about to bring East Coast rap back. And there's nothing they could do about it. And this kid was finna put East Coast on the map, just like Big did. And this is after 50. And that was Papa Smoke. Pop Smoke. That was Pop Smoke. Let me just tell you something, man. 2 weeks before Pop Smoke died, K Slay, who heard this shit from the industry, that know shit that happens in the industry, set Pop Smoke and his people down and gave them a jewel. He said, y'all gonna have to protect him with his life, with y'all life. Y'all gonna have to protect him with y'all life. Cause he know Pop Smoke was about to bring rap back to the East Coast. And what happened? Pop Smoke ended up dead. Now, I ain't trying to say that's some kind of conspiracy, and maybe some other shit was going on, or this, that, and the third. But brother, he had that conversation with K Slay 2 weeks before he was murdered. They didn't want rap to be back on the East Coast.
At the end of the day, this isn't just about one documentary or one missing segment. It's about patterns that keep repeating, powerful people staying protected, questions staying unanswered, and truths only surfacing years later when the damage can't be undone. Whether people believe these claims or not, one thing stands out loud and clear. Jay-Z's absence from the documentary wasn't normal. When everyone else gets examined and one name is completely erased, it raises serious questions. And with investigations reportedly widening and more insiders speaking up, those questions aren't fading anytime soon.